You are listening to the FunnelAmplified podcast, where we talk about your growth intensification through social expansion, content amplification, brand magnification, lead generation, conversion optimization, and pipeline acceleration. If you enjoy the show, please write and post your podcast review today. Now let's talk about growing your business. All right, everybody. This is Brandon Lee. Thank you so much for joining us today. Hey, I am very excited today because Charrele, who is my guest today, not only is she extremely experienced and knowledgeable in message amplification and digital selling, but she and I have had several conversations that we have not recorded, and I just absolutely learned a ton from her. And I know you all will too. So I want to welcome Charrele Brown, who is the Director, Head of Global E-Learning and Gamification for Digital Selling with SAP. Charrele, welcome to FunnelAmplified.
Hey, Brandon, how are you? I'm so thankful that we finally found the time to do this. We've been working on it for a while. So I'm glad we are actually sitting down and talking.
We are, and we're recording, which is wonderful because we've had some great conversations. And every time we've talked, I've been like, gosh, I really wish we would have recorded that and shared it with everybody. But today we get to do it. Yeah. So before we get started, tell us a little bit about you and how you got into digital selling and your role with SAP. And then we're going to jump into a bunch of questions for you.
Okay. So this wasn't something that I've actively sought out in my life. I was just telling my 16-year-old daughter I wanted to get a law degree when I went to college because she's a sophomore in high school. And so we're having those conversations now. And I got off of that train really super, super fast. Worked in retail for a while when I first went to college. And then I decided to go to school to get my degree in because my basic degree is in marketing. My bachelor's degree is in marketing. And so I decided to go back and get my master's in instructional design and technology. And so that's basically information design. I became an apprentice designer with the Vanguard Group and went back and got my master's and became a lead designer for some retirement projects and, came to SAP. I did some design work here at SAP, and then I did instructional design work at SAP and found myself in the innovation program. I became a senior design thinking coach, and here I am in digital selling. And I'm not sure how I got here. There's no direct connection with anything. I think it's just the way the cards were played.
Yeah, I understand that. Well, I wonder how many of us have titles that we do that if we went back 25, 30 years to our college selves, we would have even had a clue what the title meant back then.
I agree with you. And this is such a supportive role, and it's very fulfilling. And, you think of support and you think of being at the mercy of others, and essentially you are, and that's why it's so fulfilling. It's training folks and it's helping them improve their business. And when people benefit from something that you offer, they're very appreciative. So I wouldn't trade this experience for the world.
Yeah, excellent. Well, Charrele, I want to jump right in because one of the things that you've told me before is my first question for you. I'd love for you to share. And that is, you've told me, hey, digital marketing is digital selling and digital selling is digital marketing. And I just think that is so timely right now. Would you tell us, what do you mean by that?
So basically, digital selling or social selling is when salespeople use social media or social channels to interact directly with their prospects, right? And then digital marketing is basically any form of marketing that exists online. So there are several commonalities. This means, the way it's done is the first thing. Online is digital is social, all of that's done on the internet. So it's done virtually, right? Secondly, whether it's marketing or sales, and regardless of who is doing it, you need to create your brand, you need to build trust, and then you need to become knowledgeable about your audience. who they are, what their concerns are, what challenges they have, and then present content that will make them want to engage with you. And that will help them solve their problems. So if you call it sales or marketing, it's just referring to the individual practicing the methodology. That's all the same thing. So that's what I mean when I say digital marketing is digital selling and vice versa.
So if I can summarize what you said, I hear you say that it's take that individual, that seller, that creates a brand, their own brand within their company brand, in order to build trust, build an audience, and therefore build relationships that lead to revenues.
Absolutely.
Does that sound
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. That is exactly right.
Excellent. Well, then let me just get this down a bit more micro and more practical for anyone listening. What does a day look like for a successful rep at SAP that is doing this well?
Okay, so the most important thing, and this is what I tell a lot of the people that I connect with through training, the most important thing is to build a habit of monitoring what's trending. You also need to share your expertise in a professional manner and consistently engage. Those are the most important things. So think of it more as a habit and less of a I have to do this one thing and then another thing. Making sure you're acknowledging comments. You like comments, you answer questions and the like. People will engage more with you if you acknowledge their presence. So if they're recognized, they'll become loyal followers, right? And then you want to build habits that make digital activity organic. It shouldn't be hard. It shouldn't be bothersome. It can be something as simple as reading an article and then contributing your expert opinion or sharing your experience in a positive and professional manner. Then you document what your goals are every quarter regarding what you want to accomplish digitally. And that will help you stay focused. Find an influencer online, see what they're posting, see who they're following, and just mirror those behaviors that you admire and use those as goals.
Yeah, that's so good. I think one of one of the conversations you and I have had before is when you explain that. For me, I'm in my late 40s. I've got a little gray on my beard. It's no different than what I was trained in my mid 20s in my first sales role. It's just, it happened more about going to networking events or going to conferences and working a booth or working a room. It sounds very similar to me. What do you think about
So
that?
I think it's the same, but it's easier now to me, Brandon, in my experience, because you can work a booth in a room and you have travel expenses, you have to stay in a hotel, you're away from your family, but you can see who I am as a sales individual. I can create a video, a 1 minute video, and tell you who I am, how to connect with me. You can see how I speak, you can see what I look like, you can see my demeanor, and that can all be done virtually through rich media. So it's so much easier now. People feel as if they are more vulnerable behind the camera. However, when you're in a room full of people, you have to be cognizant of the different personalities and everything like that. When you're with a camera, you're by yourself unless you have a camera person. But if you have a tripod, you set that up, you record yourself, you can edit it, and so the information that you're transmitting digitally seems easier. It's less, you have to put less energy in it. And it's easier to communicate who you are when you're by yourself because your thoughts are on that task at hand. When you're in a room, you're managing different things. So I feel like it's so digital is easy. We just have to have knowledge about the practice and the methodology and get used to it.
Yeah, yeah, that's I love I always love the way that you explain that with the methodology. So let's pretend that somebody's listening and they're a sales leader or a CEO of like an SMB. They've got a dozen or so sales reps, and they're skeptical about anything digital being able to effectively replicate or duplicate what they've done for the last 20 years in face to face. How would you answer or address that concern?
Um, Listen, if you look at the numbers, you just have to look at the numbers. So if they're skeptical about it, you can go on the internet and you can find out by 2020, the year 2020, and that is next year. Can you believe it? 85% of the buyer-seller interaction is going to happen online through social and video, right?
Wait. I need you to repeat that just in case anyone missed it. Can you repeat that by 2020, which is not even 12 months away from the time we're recording
Exactly.
this?
So by sometime next year, 85% of the buyer-seller interaction is going to happen online through social media and video. And we just talked about video. Another good number is 67% of the buyer's journey is already done digitally. Last year, that was 54%. So do you see how drastically that's changing? And then 84% of C-level or VP level executives are now using social media to make purchasing decisions. 94% of the B2B buyers conduct online research before making a purchase. So they're looking at people, they're looking at solutions, they're reading online before making a purchase. And then 90% of the top performing salespeople are now using social media as part of their strategy. So why would you be skeptical about using social or digital channels to help your teams improve their business? Just by looking at the numbers.
Right. So data doesn't lie.
Numbers do not lie.
Yeah, exactly. When I look, you mentioned the 90% of top performers are using social selling or digital selling or these activities. And I've used that. In fact, Michael Labate, who's with SAP as well, I had him as a guest last week. And we talked about some of your internal findings. Not only was it 90% were using their social selling activities, but I believe the number was they also had a 300% average deal size larger than their non-social colleagues.
That's right.
Was that accurate?
That is accurate. Michael is the numbers guy, and these numbers are from Michael. So yes, he knows exactly what he's talking about.
Yeah. Now, Charrele, would you speak into why is that? Like qualitatively, I mean, that's a great quantifiable number, but qualitatively, why is it that a seller that's using these digital methodologies to build relationships and meet their quota, why are they getting larger average deal sizes?
Because it's easier. Again, you don't have to go to an event, to an expo to meet people. You can meet people through connections of your own. You can meet people by presenting your expertise and them wanting to engage with you. So the means in which you can increase your audience size and amplify your message, it's an easier method. There's less travel involved. There's less schmoozing involved. There's less everything involved. And you can get that same message out to a greater number of people through that. And then word of mouth, right? So let's just say that you're looking for a car and I'm selling a car. And not only do I just tell you based on the Blue Book value, this is what my car is, and this is how many miles it has on it. This is what color it is. This is what the year is. I can show you pictures of that car. I can take a video of that car, 360-degree view, so you can see all the dings and the scratches and all of that. And you don't ever have to physically see the car. You'll know what the car looks like by trusting what I provided for you. So you have a good experience with me now. You bought the car. It's exactly what I said it was going to be. The scratches are exactly where I said they were going to be. And you tell someone else, I bought this car through, Charrele Brown, and everything that she promised, she delivered. And so now you have a person who is looking for a car. That person doesn't know me, but you know that person. We connect each other. So you see how easy it is to get that audience bigger, that message amplified. It's so much easier. So that's why the deal sizes are bigger, because you have access to more people and you have access to more resources.
Yeah, and one of the things that I found, and I'd love for your thought or feedback on this, is that those that are projecting themselves on digital networks, first of all, they can amplify wider, faster, so they're in front of more people. Those that know them, like them, trust them, are actually sharing their content as well, and they develop a sense of being a subject matter expert faster or better than others. And so when people go to them for help, and they view them as a subject matter expert, they view them as an innovator or information giver in a particular field, that people come to them and say, help me solve my pain, and look at them more like a doctor who gives a prescription than a salesperson who's trying to close a
Right,
deal.
right. Yeah, that's true. um, there's no doubt about that. I think to help remedy that, and that doesn't necessarily present a problem to me that has to be solved. What that salesperson has to do, though, is make sure that they're always professional, make sure that they're always improving, consistently improving. There is someone, hypothetically, there's always someone out there that's better than you, that's done more than you, that has more experience than you. So again, you take those influencers and those people that you look up to, and you get those benchmarks, and you consistently improve who you are. You learn more, you read more, you share more, and you're going to get some people out there who don't agree with what you are saying, but you have to address those issues. Those are the difficult pieces, right? Address those things and hear a different perspective. And if that person is not just being difficult and they're being objective, that will help you learn and improve. So,
Yeah, absolutely. So that leads me to, you have shared with me that SAP and you look at digital selling as a methodology based platform. Can you explain what you mean by that and what that looks like practically?
yes. So,
No
yeah.
problem.
So here at SAP, the global digital selling team does not just dictate, again, a list of things to do regarding digital activity, right? We don't say,
Yeah.
Get on LinkedIn, change your profile, fix your picture, change your profile summary. We do that, but we also invest in an advocacy program. We take our training very seriously, and then we continuously improve our program so that whether you call it marketing or selling, or regardless of who's doing it, professionals from services or HR or sales champions or marketing executives, whoever you are, you're creating an amazing customer experience. That's what our goals and objectives are. So it's a whole piece. It's not just activities, it's a methodology that you have to follow, and habits that you have to build, behaviors that you have to change. So it's a practice.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, and you said to me before, you don't get caught up in the terminology. You don't look at, do we call it social selling, digital selling, or social media marketing? You really key in on four main activities in order to be successful. Would you share those and explain those with us?
Right. I like to refer to them as concepts because, when you think activities, we're back to that thinking, we have to do this. And once I did it, it's done. But if you think
Got it.
about it
Yeah.
in a conceptual view, it's branding, it's listening, it's prospecting, and it's sharing. And these are the four things that are at the core of digital. And they need to be done essentially in that order, pretty much, right? Before you can engage in any digital activity, you need to have a professional and complete digital profile, whether it's on LinkedIn, whether it's on Twitter, wherever that is. This is your professional image, and a consistent message needs to be shared with that image across all of the platforms that you utilize. So that's the first thing.
Can I ask you a quick question on
Sure.
that? On that brand, I have seen a lot of salespeople that their LinkedIn profile is geared around selling or being a professional salesperson. It's not necessarily geared around what their customers are looking for or some of the expertise, knowledge, or industry knowledge they carry. It's more on sales. What do you think is the right way to build a professional brand for a salesperson on LinkedIn or any other digital platform?
So, when you talk about sales, sometimes it comes with a tainted image. If they have, and I hope they have, listened to what their audience needs, and if their audience wants to just know that they're a salesperson, that's fine. But I truly believe in a customer centric profile. So I'm a fan of that.
Yeah. Can you, I know that we didn't totally talk about this before, but could you speak to that? What does a customer-centric profile
So
mean?
I guess, and see, I love the way this flows, right? Because I guess going right into the other four concepts will kind of explain
Yeah.
to what a customer centric profile is. So then after you've done your branding, the next concept that I talked about was listening. And that's where you become customer centric because first you were focused on yourself and what you're projecting. Now you need to actually listen and know what issues and challenges and topics are out there, quote unquote. Which of those things you have solid experience on and knowledge about. And then you have to share your information about those. But before you share, you have to be carefully listening to what customers and your clients and your prospects need. It's like a doctor, right? I can go into the doctor and I can say that I have a problem. And if he or she does not hear what my problem is, they'll make a misdiagnosis. So listening is key. Yeah, I've had headaches for 3 days. And so now I need, something. And that doctor won't just go with the headaches. What have you been doing? Have you been drinking water? So it's almost prescriptive, like you said before, that they take these experts and they put them in the paradigm of a doctor. You have to listen and you have to prescribe. So social listening is key. It's my favorite concept out of all four of those.
Wow.
Go ahead. You have a question?
No, I just said, wow, that's, I've heard you say it before, but yeah, that always is, it's always, I think that's always very important for me to share with sales leaders is that listening piece, just like in any other sales conversation, listening, social listening, digital listening is just as important as listening in a face-to-face environment.
Listening is key, right? Because again, I can make sure I'm well polished and what I'm projecting and putting out there is up to par. But if I don't know what's needed, I'm going to blindly share information or weigh in on things that are not really important. And then you need to know who you want to connect and engage with, right? So that's the prospecting piece. That is, notice I said connect and engage. So just sending out an invitation and having someone accept it is not enough, right? Sometimes you connect with people for reasons. You connect with them because you have something to offer them. Sometimes you connect with people who you need help from. Sometimes you connect with people who have experience in doing what you want to do and you want to learn from them. Others are connecting to people that you want to connect with. So it's definitely a strategy and it's a method to prospecting. And then finally, sharing. So this is the part where most people are apprehensive. And I think I mentioned this before. Sharing makes you feel vulnerable. Social media is known for dragging people who don't know their stuff. So everybody's scared of that. But here at SAP, that is the first thing I share with people when I hear hesitation about embracing digital selling. I reiterate the fact that SAP is a corporation made up of professionals that have countless resources to become experts in their focus area. We also have countless experts in your focus area that you have access to learn from. So we on the digital selling program team, we're just here to help you with the rest. That's all. So those are the four concepts.
Those are excellent. So just to reiterate for everybody, your four key concepts are branding, your personal brand, being professional, making sure that you represent you and your brand the way that you want, that you would like to be projected.
And the way that the company has set us up for. We have a company brand, and then your professional social brand should be in alignment with that. Yes.
Right. As I like to say, your personal brand within your company
Absolutely.
brand. Keeping those aligned. And then number two is social listening, which you think is the most important, because if you're not listening, you're not paying attention, you don't hear their needs, their pain points, then moving into prospecting and sharing is off. So listening helps set you up for your remaining two concepts, which are who you're prospecting with, why you're prospecting or reaching out to each group, and then, of course, sharing content, whether it's content that individually they create, content from within your brand, your company that they're creating, because we know salespeople don't have time to create a whole bunch of content anyway.
Right.
But the company the company's doing that for them, or even curated content from other experts and industry leaders, and being able to share that with your audience to help add value to them. I get those four right.
You got those right. And I just, as you were talking, I just realized, wow, like it's an iterative process, right? So once you brand and you start to listen and you go into prospecting and sharing, you may listen and say, you know what, I'm going to fix my brand. I'm going to change it. I'm going to completely change it and overhaul it, because the brand that I was projecting before does not address the needs of my customers and prospects. So it's a cyclical, iterative process.
That is so good. So what I'm going to do, Charrele, we're hitting up against our time, so I'm going to wrap us up right now. But I do, I want to let everybody know I have Charrele coming back for another episode. So when we're done here, go ahead and pop over to our next episode if it's published already, and Charrele will be there. We're going to keep the conversation going. But I'm also going to put inside of the notes for the podcast, and we'll put it on our blog as well, these 4 key iterative concepts, because Charrele, I think those are so huge for a business of any size, that going from that personal brand to listing to prospecting to sharing, that is so good. And thank you so much for sharing all that with us. Is there anything else you want to leave our audience with before we sign off?
No, I think we'll probably touch on it in our next episode. But I, again, appreciate you having me here. It's very exciting, and I can't wait to see what people say about our episode.
Yeah, well, why don't you give our audience a little preview? What do you want to start our next conversation with, based on what we shared today?
Let's talk about, I think, besides the numbers, the important things that people want to know before they engage digitally is, why do we call it social selling or digital sales, and why the term sales? Those things, I think, frustrate people a little bit when they don't have an underlining understanding of what is actually going on.
Well, there you go. We put our turn signal on. We let everybody know what we're going to talk about next. So, Charrele, thank you so much for being with me. Everybody, this is Charrele Brown from SAP, and she is a director, the head of global e-learning and gamification for digital selling. And Charrele, if anybody in our audience wants to connect with you, what is the best way for them to connect with you?
LinkedIn. I have my LinkedIn name, of course, is just Charrele Brown, CHARRELE, and then Brown like the color. And then LinkedIn, I'm just Charrele, CHARRELE. I'm sorry, on Twitter, I'm just Charrele. So,
yeah, got
really original name. Yep, LinkedIn or Twitter is fine.
Awesome. All right, Charrele, thank you so much. And everybody, thank you. I appreciate your time, and come back and be with us on my next episode with Charrele Brown. You are listening to the FunnelAmplified podcast, where we talk about your growth intensification through social expansion, content amplification, brand magnification, lead generation, conversion optimization, and pipeline acceleration. If you enjoy the show, please write and post your podcast review today. Now let's talk about growing your business.